All right. Are with another episode of Veteran Perspectives. This one's going to be based on the blog on Beehive or Substack. I have been told some of you guys like Substack, so I will start linking them both in the description on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening and or watching. From war wounds to written words, how blogging helps me live with PTSD. So we're shifting away from education this week. Don't worry, we'll be back next week. But this one's going to be a little bit about me. So let's get started. All right, first, our sponsor. It's me. I've written a couple books of poems, but one of them is called From Cradle to Confidence, Sonnets of a Dad's Journey. It is a book of 20 poems, 20 sonnets about fatherhood. I have an email list that is tied to this book. You get a free copy of the book just for signing up for the email. You get a free PDF copy, like a digital PDF that you download, uh, read from your computer or your tablet or your phone, but it's completely free. If you love them and you want to, I would appreciate an honest review on Amazon. It's a way for me to share my work and to potentially, if you want to, it is not required to get on Amazon. So if you guys wanted to do that, that would be wonderful. I will leave the link to that page to sign up for the email list. And the email list, again, the only thing I'm going to send out is stuff about the podcast, stuff for our Etsy store, just notes, right? Just like updates with me, Carrie, and the kids, and stuff we got going on, new products we got coming out, stuff like that. Okay, I do have another book in the works. This one's more education based. It's not poetry. But I do have two books of poems. But this one, since Father's Day is coming up here in a few weeks, I wanted to get this book out there for dads and moms, but my journey, dad, probably my favorite thing I do. So again, it's called From Cradle to Confidence: Sonnets of a Dad's Journey. I will leave a link to the mailing list in the description so that you guys sign up, choose to, and yourself a free PDF copy of those poems. All right. From war wounds to written words, how blogging helps me live with people. I have always loved writing, even when I was a kid. Um, just writing little notes. I loved learning about poetry in school and the different types of poems. Um, some people tell me I'm a better speaker than a writer, and that's fine. I've always had the quote unquote gift of gab. I'm really, really good at that. I enjoy speaking. I enjoy debate, respectful debate, sometimes disrespectful debate, because that could be fun too, right? Uh, but when I left the army, um, I was probably in a bad spot. I was in the reserves when I got out, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I was already living in Arizona, and I was a little lost. You know, I had just met my now wife. We were talking. I don't know if we call it dating, talking. So I wasn't married. I didn't have kids at the time, and I really didn't know what to do with myself. Like I had a job, I was working, but I wasn't back at school yet. I wasn't at ASU. My teaching career wasn't even a thought at that point, and so I was lost, like completely lost. And I got on my computer and just started pecking away and stuff, just thoughts, thoughts, journals, writing stuff down, writing notes to myself on sticky notes. Um, some people have asked me, "Oh, you should write about your experiences in Iraq." I'm not ready emotionally still, 20 plus years later, to do that. Uh, like I'm better at talking about those experiences than I am writing them. Um, but let me be clear. PTSD doesn't care if you're a civilian, doesn't care if you're a soldier, airman, marine, postie, space forcey, guardian, whatever they call them. It doesn't care. It doesn't care that you're trying to start over. It will follow you, right? So when I left Iraq Army, when I've moved around, it's always there, right? You're never uh, cured from PTSD. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. It will never fully go away. You learn to manage it. You learn to find your triggers and manage your triggers. There's certain things that I won't do because I know that they trigger me. Certain situations that I've learned to stay away from because they trigger me, right? And that's not on society. I know this is getting a little deep. That's not on society. That's on me, right? It's like the firework on 4th of July thing, right? I do not like fireworks, but that doesn't mean I have the gall to tell my neighbors not to set off fireworks. You know, like I'm not going to do that, right? I want them to enjoy fireworks. So every year I take my dog and now my cat. We go in the bedroom. We turn on a TV program. I turn it up loud. I close the door, close the blinds, and we chill. That's how I cope. So finding ways to deal with your triggers is part of the process of managing yourself. Not fully healing, because again, we will never fully. It's always there. But part of that healing for me has been writing. When I left education, I left the classroom. All that stuff went down. The toxic leadership. It really triggered like that. I didn't even know that was a trigger for me until it happened, and it broke me down in ways I never thought I would be broke down, especially in the field that I loved. Uh, and I walked away from that and was a little lost, a little confused, but I was like, I got to find something to keep me occupied first of all, because I'm at home now, right? Like I do this at home. I write my blogs from home. I write my books from home. I'm working on my affiliate marketing stuff from home. Like I do all that stuff from home, and I like it. Like even my kids tell me all the time, like, "Hey, Dad, you look a lot calmer now because I don't have to go outside unless I want to." And then again, I pick and choose my battles where I go. But again, that's how I manage me. It's not changing society to fit around me, it's changing me to fit around society. And writing is part of that. I think that's the special part about writing and speaking, doing a podcast like this. I control this world. Right? Sure, there are rules or certain things I can't talk about or write about on certain platforms because I don't own the platform, but I own the word. So for years and years and years, I did what I was trained to do. Keep your head down, get the job done, be strong, ignore the sign, right? Just do the job. Can't do that. You have to listen to you. And writing helps me get that out. I never thought I would write about some of the stuff that I've written about. And there's a lot I don't write about. So there's strength in stopping, saying, hey, I need to find something for me. Okay. I walked away from teaching and I was broken. But I don't stay down long. Those that know me know that I don't stay down long. I wear it out there. I'm like I wear my heart on my sleeve. So something was going to come in terms of me bouncing back, figuring things out. It took me a little bit longer than I would like, but writing is part of that process. I didn't set out to create a blog. I didn't set out to write a book. I started doing it, and I was looking up online. I'm not going to lie. I Google search, probably like a billion people do, how to make money from home. because I was like, okay, I'm not working, but I could do stuff here at home. Right? Like I have a nice computer, you know. Um, yeah, I've always, I mean, heck, I've been making content for years now. I don't make any money off that content, by the way. I'm not monetized on YouTube yet. It's been years, so if that happens, that'd be great. But uh, there was no vision board. It was a Google search, and I was like, okay, well, I like the Etsy store thing. Let's start that. Boom, got that off the ground. Um, Slowly but surely, nothing is happening with it. But like it's a business, right? It's not going to blow up overnight. It's not like we're setting the world on fire with like game changing products. We just wanted to spread a little bit of positivity because it made me feel more positive, right? Like when people bought those things, I was like, hey, that's pretty cool, Someone bought my digital template for a seating chart the other day, right? And I'm assuming it was a teacher. I was like, oh, that's cool. I made like $3 off of it. I didn't care. But I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I hope I hope they like that. I hope they share it with their teacher or tell their teacher friends to buy it from me. That would be better. But all of that stuff involved a form of writing. This form of writing, the blogs and the books, I made personal. I kind of, like I brainstormed some ideas. Like, yeah, I looked at kind of what was popular, right? Or more so the framework of what was popular, like what it looked like, templates and stuff like that. I hopped on ChatGPT just to kind of look for different ideas, stuff like that. Because I'm a big fan of ChatGPT or Grok, for those of you Grok. Shout out to Pat, to my boy Pat for recommending Grok to me. It really helped with my stuff on Etsy, by the way. Changing my my product descriptions, Grok. Pat, thank you. um, but I wanted to write about my experiences, not as a soldier fully, because that's part of me. That's who I am. Hell, I joined the army. I was 17 years old. It's how I became a man. But I wanted to write about being me, being real, right? I mean, like, I might be an asshole. But I'm me all the time. I'm me when I write. I'm me when I speak. It's not a show. Like, I don't put on the dog and pony show. Uh, I am who I am. So, there's guilt. Come home. Others didn't. You write about that or you think about that. You write about the smell, the air, the dust, the dirt, the roads you drive in Iraq, the way that PTSD eats at you and eats at your soul, right? How it makes you forget what you're saying mid sentence, how it puts you back to that place you've been trying to escape for such a long time. How it turns a simple drive into a panic attack. I do not drive. I can't remember the last time I drove a car because that is a serious trigger for me. And sometimes I feel like that lets people down, that I'm not good enough. I'm not contributing, right? But writing that stuff down, writing the stuff down about teaching mattered to me. Like, okay, this is going to resonate with people that I know, but it's going to resonate with me more. So it became a personal healing journey, right? And like, again, you never heal from people, but it's part of the process of, okay, I can do this, right? Writing used to be my outlet, right? And I kind of got away from it. And I got away from it in a sense of my writing turned into academic, right? Where, I met my wife, dated, got married, and she's like, "Hey, you need to go back to school because you're." Or now she pushed me back to school and become a teacher. She knew that's what I wanted. That was my dream. As weird as that is, right? Who dreams of being a teacher? That's weird, right? And she she pushed me to go back. And so I went back, and my whole focus shift in terms of writing, there was no personal writing. It was all academic, which is fine. I enjoy academic writing. I enjoy the research. I enjoy the structure. I enjoy the citations, like stuff like that. I was good at, right? Then I started working, started teaching, transitioned to teaching online, then back to the classroom. That whole back and forth thing. And in between that, I went back to school and got my master's in political science. You want to talk about writing? You think you write during an education degree? Get a master's in political science. Yeah, I had to write a whole thesis and defend it. I'll let you guys read that someday. Maybe I'll make that available for you guys. I'm sure I have it around here somewhere. But even that, like in between, I wasn't really writing. I started streaming. I started playing video games on Twitch, right? I was just an old guy playing video games on Twitch, right? And then I started making content, but I wasn't really scripting out. Like, I don't do long form content unless it's like this. I started doing some NFL content, but the scripting wasn't hard for that, right? Because I was making just predictions. I started doing sports betting content, but again, it was short form. So the scripting isn't very long. I'm not a big script person. I like talking about what I talk about and basing it off of something, having a plan, but don't tell me what to say. And that includes me, like me telling me, hey, don't tell me what to say, right? But then when all that went down last July, and I was like, fuck this. I got mad, sad, angry, like I had failed. The whole gamut, the whole gambit of emotions that everyone goes through when something like that happens. But I also found out a couple things. I found out who my friends were. Definitely found out who my friends were. There were also people that were kind of on the outskirts of my life who really showed up for me. And they know who they are. But one of them in particular, and I won't use their name, but they were instrumental in me picking myself back up. And this person I've known since I was 16 years old. And she was like, hey, man, I'm going to check on you. I'm sure you're okay. And that was pretty special. It still is. Because she still checks on me. Leaving teaching, I felt like I had failed education, like I had failed myself, like I had failed every student I had ever taught, but that's not true, right? But at the time, that's how I felt. And writing, and really, truly, not venting about education, or maybe venting a little bit about education, but calling education out where it needs to be called out from a former teacher. Because you don't see that a lot. Right? You had bored teachers and they were funny for a minute and then they turned into what they are now, right? Which is very, very, political. Which is fine, but it stopped being about improving the education system, in my opinion. Their focus, my focus with these blogs about education is about to expose its purpose is to expose the education system for what it is. And I'm going to keep doing it. I can guarantee you that I'll keep doing it. And there are people that don't like it. And it's why certain people don't talk to me anymore who used to call themselves my friend. By the way, I haven't blocked anyone. I don't block people. So, if you're still out there, first off, you probably know who you are. Second, you still have my phone number. So, writing doesn't make my PTSD go away. Like, again, it's not a cure. I want to be clear about that, right? Like, I don't want to tell people with PTSD, go write, you'll be cured, right? No, not at all. My time in Iraq is still with me. My time in the military is still with me. Loud noises still make me flinch. I scan every room for exits. I look, like I don't sit with my back to the door, right? I wake up some nights soaked in sweat, panic attacks. But writing gives me something I need in my life. That's clear. Again, I can. When this up here, my brain feels like a war zone, not the game, but it feels like a war zone in my brain. I can breathe. I literally just pull up a Google Doc, start clicking away, right? Uh, the page is calm, right? It's just a white field, uh, but in dark mode because I have to have my computer. I also left my glasses. Oh no, I didn't. My glasses. I had them on earlier. I'm getting old. Sometimes I get lost in guilt and shame, right? As those with PTSD. But writing helps me see patterns. It's helped me spot my truth. Car backfiring, crowded store, a memory. Sometimes those hit without warning. Pausing, breathing, writing. That's my path, right? But writing also shows me the good moments, like we talked about last week or the week before, when I got to talk about my kids, about being a dad, about what that means to me, about kids, about my wife. Uh, I've been married for 16 years. First off, why would you want to be married to me that long? But sometimes you skip the good moments, and I think writing helps see those. Right? Um, it also helps me see how much I've changed in this last almost a year. Right? Again, my own kids tell me, "Dad, you're smiling more. Dad, you're calmer. Dad, look like you're at peace." Right? And that's a pretty cool because it shows me the good moment. Right? So writing gives me control in a good way of my own story. When you're in the army and in the military, you got to follow orders, missions, and teaching. It's lesson plans, evaluations, following curriculum, following whatever BS, whatever at some whatever they want you to do, right? But the writing, fine. I own it. I decide what to say, how to say it, how much to say, how much not to say. You can look back at old stuff, pull up old posts, and go, wow, did I really say that? Wow, I am an asshole. uh, but then you can look at the old days and go, I got through that. You know, we have. I mean, sometimes I look at old pictures of me in Iraq, or they'll pop up on my Facebook page from friends, and it's always me in the front vehicle. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, what the hell was I doing? 22-year-old kid. From private to public. Now, by public, I mean my words are now available to read by anyone, right? Um, that changes the writing in a sense. Writing is my safe space, right? You kind of, I use it to untangle whatever's in my crazy. But then you start thinking about veterans, start thinking about other teachers, start thinking about the education system, start thinking about students, and you think about the weight of those things. Those are, I mean, like that's heavy shit, right? And sometimes, I mean, heck, I've had people tell me, "Wow, I read this passage, this sentence that you wrote, and it really stood out to me." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I realized, yes, the writing is mine, but the message needs to be for everyone. Because if my writing or my words, the spoken word, can help anyone, I'm all about it. Right? That's kind of what I do. So you kind of take a deep breath. Your private thoughts turn public. Um, in more of a long form, because I've always been pretty active on social media. Some of you know me. I know what I am and how I can be on social media, good and bad. Um, but this is obviously a longer form of that, a breakdown. Uh, and that's a good thing. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to start over. It's okay to look at your job and this is not my life. My job is not my life. Right? It's like the bosses that tell you that your workplace, oh, we're family. If unless they're your actual family in the workplace saying that, if any boss tells you we're like a family here, run from that fucking job. Because what they're really telling you is I'm going to expect you to do shit above and beyond for free. Teachers, I'm speaking directly to you. Because that shit happens way too much in education. Walk away. If something's hurting you, walk away. It's okay. It's going to be okay. Now, I say that out loud. Some days I believe it. Some days I don't. Some days I struggle with it. I go, okay, are we going to fucking make it? Ask my wife. And she tells me all the time, don't worry, we're good. We're good. We're good. You know, we planned ahead, right? I had a substantial savings account. We're working on my VA claim, trying to up my disability rating. So there's irons in the fire, right? But as a man, I'm like, am I really contributing to this household? Because some days I feel like I'm not. My wife hates it when I say that. When she listens to this on Friday, she's gonna be like, "Damn it!" But veterans reaching out, sharing their own, some from Iraq, some different feelings were the same, right? Guilt, isolation, finding purpose. Teachers, some who have left education, burnouts, they're still there and facing fucking trauma, right? People with PTSD who weren't veterans, um, fighting that battle that no one sees, right? Because PTSD, there's not physical scars on your body, right? People don't understand that. Not our scars aren't visible; they're internal. So then I decided to take this blog, Veterans Perspectives, and do what I'm doing now, and that's talk, turning it into a podcast. I've done podcasts in the past. Like as you know, I renamed this podcast. I got away from the other one, which I liked. I left all the episodes up; they're still there. Past, but I knew that when I started writing this, and actually, and I was like, talk. We're gonna add. I try to keep about between 30 minutes to an hour, right? So you guys can listen to them, work, hanging out at home, whatever. Please listen. Please listen to these. I need to make some ad revenue. Jeez. Come on, people. I'm a techie guy, but I'm not a tech wizard. I'm also, believe it or not, I'm not a natural born speaker. I have a stutter. I still do. It was worse when I was a kid. But I love to speak. Uh, but I also wanted to create the space where people can hear me, hear real conversation about this stuff. Again, not polished, not scripted. I don't script this. I literally have the blog up. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I don't script shit. If you think I scripted this blog, you're crazy. The podcast is an extension of the blog. It's an extension of the conversation, right? I talk to other veterans. My doctor found their laughing, crying, share messages about each other. I hope to bring that to the podcast, but I could just bring my experience. So I need you guys to share it with me, blow this shit up. That's what I need y'all to do, man. We gotta blow this up. Only you can do that. Well, me too, but I share it everywhere. But I want, and like maybe this is like our mantra here. You guys tell me in the comments if you think this is true, that every episode is a reminder that healing isn't a straight line. It's hard, it's uneven, but it's worth it. I should put that on a fucking t-shirt. I'm gonna copy that. That might end up in our Etsy store somehow, or like on a coffee mug. But again, writing became my therapy. It's part of my therapy for my PTSD. I tell my mental health doctor all the time, and he's been my doctor for over 10 years. If he ever leaves the VA, I'm fucked. Okay, we're gonna have to do a whole podcast about that if that happens. Writing has taught me a lot about living with people. It's not a fix. It doesn't erase anything. Right? It won't erase your memory. It doesn't erase Iraq from erase the pain. But it does three specific things. Okay, and I'm going to kind of read this directly off the blog because I think it quiets the chaos. It calms. Okay. When I feel it kind of coming on, I go, okay, I'm going to go to my computer and just write some. I'm going to look at an old blog and maybe do a revision. Right. And this is the only blog I write. I have an e-commerce blog. I have a budget blog. But this is the one that I really want to get out there. Okay. It forces honesty. I can't lie to you guys. Like, I'm not a liar. If I'm struggling, I have to admit it. If I'm angry about toxic leadership or ashamed of leaving teaching, I face it. It's hard, but it's also freeing. I'm like, okay, I can talk about it. There's some stuff I can't talk about that I'm not ready to. But I can talk about some of it. It proves that I'm still here. I ain't going nowhere. Every word I write is evidence that I'm still fighting, still willing to be a participant on this earth. You know what I mean? Suicide, and yeah, I'm going to use the word. I'm sure YouTube ain't going to like it. Is a big deal in the PTSD community. And if you're feeling that way, I encourage you to call the National Suicide Hotline, call the VA Suicide Hotline if you're a veteran. But writing is one of the things that keeps me here. This podcast is one of the things that keeps me here. That's heavy, but it's real. It's not about forgetting things. It's not about pretending that what happened in your past isn't there. It's about learning to carry that weight. It's about learning to not let that weight crush you. It's about telling your story. That's why I want to encourage you guys to write or do a podcast or come on my podcast. If you're a veteran, especially ones carrying the scars of places like Iraq or stuff that you're willing to talk about, because I know that's sensitive, okay? Start writing. If you're a teacher, you walked away from the classroom or thinking about walking in the classroom, write. Write it down. You don't have to share it. You don't have to publish it. Write it down. Write your thoughts down. Write your ideas down. Write your why down, right? And keep it for you. If you're anyone living with PTSD or trauma, start writing. Start writing. It doesn't have to be a blog. It can be anything, right? It can be a notebook. It can be a phone note on your cell phone. It can be scrap paper, sticky notes. It can be sticky notes on your computer, right? It just has to be yours. It has to be something you own. Right? Don't write on other people's stuff. Your story, no matter who you are, it matters. It matters to you. Even if you're the only one who reads it, it deserves to be told. Writing can definitely help you understand your pain, your triggers, and your hope. It can help you reclaim your voice when you feel like the world is trying to silence you. For veterans, it's a way to process the shit you don't always say out loud. Because how many times, as veterans, when people ask us how we're doing, what do we say? Yeah, I'm fine. The guilt of surviving, the fear of being seen as weak, struggle to find meaning after our time in the service and fighting wars. get to say that shit out loud or write that shit out loud. And that's heavy for us. But I encourage you to do it because it will help with the healing process. Building a community through writing and the podcast. This has now, Veterans Perspectives has now turned into kind of a mission. It's about creating a space where veterans, teachers, anyone with PTSD trauma can share their stories and find hope. It's about showing that living with trauma is possible, even when it feels like the trauma's winning. There's some days I have that. We have to be all about proving that we're stronger, but we do that when we're honest with ourselves, when we're having good days and when we're having bad days. Writing might be my therapy, but now I've turned it into a way of giving back. Speaking might be my therapy, using this podcast as an extension of the blog, but it's my way of giving back. Every post, every episode is my way of saying that you're not alone, right? Because sometimes we think we're alone. Well, guess what? If you think you're alone, think about me. Not about how I look, because that might terrify you. But think about me. I'm with you, right? Your pain is real, but so is your strength. Veterans especially, we do not have to carry our wounds in silence. In fact, we need to speak up more than anyone else. I want teachers to know it's okay to walk away from toxicity and to call it out. I want everyone with PTSD to know that there's a path forward, even if it's one word, one step, one moment at a time. So let's keep talking about it. I'm not healed. Again, PTSD never healed. I don't think it ever will be. At least not in my lifetime. Rack is still with me every single day. The pains of leaving teaching. But writing again keeps me grounded, keeps me fighting, it keeps me connected to people like you who's listening, reading blog, right? So to conclude here, I want to know a couple things. If you're willing to share down in the comments, okay? What's your story? Have you tried writing before to process something hard, something difficult? If you're a veteran, a teacher, or someone living with PTSD, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. You don't have to get detailed about what your trauma is unless you're comfortable doing so. Don't think of it as a trauma dump. Think of it as, hey, this is what I'm doing to work on myself. Okay? Drop a comment, send a message, or just start writing for yourself, right? Keep the conversation going. Keep telling our stories, because all of those stories matter, especially yours. Thank you guys for listening. Please make sure you like, subscribe. I will leave the links to the blog and to the sign up for the email list for the free book in the description. So please make sure you guys sign up for those. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks.